The story of the driving force behind Rayonex actually began long before there were human beings, with an event that was the beginning of our universe, the Big Bang. At precisely this moment, our universe had all of the characteristics that would someday make it possible for intelligent life to evolve. Our universe is in a state of resonance, from the largest cluster of stars all the way down to the tiniest of elementary particles. There is movement everywhere. However, this is not some kind of chaotic movement. What we perceive are highly varying forms of oscillations. The human body as part of the universe. A conceptual starting point in many of the world's cultures as a basis for different forms of therapy. Even thousands of years ago, traditional Chinese medicine recognized the link between health and the balance of forces within the human body. Nothing can be viewed as being completely separate. Everything is in one way or another connected with everything else. If everything, even our bodies, is made up of oscillating matter, then it should also be possible to repair the body by manipulating these oscillations. This was the concept that fascinated the engineer Paul Schmidt. This successful businessman and visionary carried out the first investigations with a frequency generator, a device capable of creating electromagnetic impulses. Based on the knowledge that the body requires a specific resonance for the activation of certain regulatory functions, Paul Schmidt experimented a long time developing a device that could produce such resonance. His observations finally led him to the development of the resonator, which forms the heart of today's bioresonance devices. He further discovered that disturbances in our organism follow a structured pattern until they finally manifest themselves in various forms of physical ailments. This knowledge eventually led to his breakthrough in finding a treatment that now makes it possible to recognize interferences and take measures to counter them before they develop into diseases. Thanks to continuous technological improvements over the years, the range of possible applications has also increased. Thus today, bioresonance is being used successfully in veterinary medicine, especially with horses and dogs, and in treating people. It also serves as the developmental platform for new procedures, such as bioenergetic analysis and therapy according to Manfred Danica. In our daily lives, we unconsciously use words and phrases that perfectly describe the character of bioresonance. The easiest way of explaining bioresonance is to take an example from nature. The oldest and most common form of exogenous bioresonance, the effects of frequencies working from the outside to the inside, is sunlight. When our skin is exposed to sunlight, it turns brown. This is not due to the warmth of the sun, but rather to the ultraviolet parts of the sun's light in the wavelengths from 10 to 400 nanometers, equivalent to a frequency of 750 to 1500 terahertz. These frequencies are able to stimulate the production of pigment in our skin. Integrated within the structure of our skin is a regulatory system that reacts to precisely these frequencies of light, causing it to turn brown. The browning action is only an effect brought about by the sun, as is the production of vitamin D, which is important for the construction of bone cells. If these two effects are the results of the influence of a relatively narrow bandwidth of sunlight, It stands to reason that other frequencies are also capable of initiating regulatory functions in plants, animals, and human beings. This perception was further investigated and developed by Paul Schmidt. Resonance, however, can only take place when objects with the ability to vibrate on the same wavelength come in contact or close proximity with one another. Place two tuning forks of the same size side by side. After stimulating one of them with an impulse, the other will also begin to vibrate. They are now said to be in resonance with each other. However, place a tuning fork of one size next to a different size tuning fork, and the resonance effect will not take place. This is because the two forks vibrate at different wavelengths. This search for and determination of suitable frequencies forms the core of Paul Schmidt's bioresonance theory. Too much sunlight, as we all know, can cause a painful sunburn. Therefore, criteria have to be maintained that will stimulate the body to produce a certain regulatory effect without doing damage in the process. With regards to sunlight, several criteria can be determined. One of them is time. A certain amount of sunlight on the skin is important for good health. Spend more time in the sun than the sun can tolerate, however, and it either becomes damaged or we have to take steps to protect it. Another factor to consider is the intensity of the sunlight. Speaking in technological terms, the word amplitude refers to the intensity of the light waves. And still another criterion is the frequency, the speed of the wavelength, which we have already spoken about. If we filter the ultraviolet frequencies out of the sunlight, no tanning will take place. The necessary frequencies are no longer present. With regards to the biological window, the shape of the applied waves must also have the right form. For example, harmonic oscillations or rectangular or triangular oscillations, which are commonly known from stimulation therapy. Maintain these criteria, and the oscillations function within the biological window and can therefore have a positive effect on the body. Every one of us functions to one degree or another within a technological world in which non-synchronous oscillations are common and have a destabilizing effect on the body, even if they work on the same frequency. Such destabilizing oscillations should be avoided because they can damage the body. However, in our highly technological world, it is almost impossible to find a place which is free of electromagnetic radiation, considering all of the electromagnetic fields surrounding us where we live and work. Paul Schmidt recognized early on that therapy would make little sense if such basic influences were not also taken into consideration. With this holistic approach in mind, RAYONEX has been intensively looking into causal influences such as electromagnetic radiation and geopathy, the acid-base balance of the body, nutrition, water, and so on. Paul Schmidt's findings with reference to bioresonance were put into practice at an early stage in developing product solutions that can be used by everyone. Today, true to Paul Schmidt's philosophy, there are bioresonance devices for a diversity of needs. They are used by well-informed private individuals as well as professionals in medical practices. A private user would probably choose the Rayometer PS10 or the Rayometer Digital. The favored bioresonance device applied in the semi-professional area is the computer-supported Rayocomp PS100. The high-med area is covered by the Rayocomp PS1000 Polar and is found primarily in medical practices. What makes this device so special is its modular design, which allows the user to adapt the device to his or her individual needs in an optimal way. The use of thermal imaging with the module acupuncture oscillation therapy makes it possible to prove the existence of meridians, which have been known scientifically for over 2,000 years. Here, for example, is the lung meridian. which is being activated by the RayoCamp PS1000 Polar. It is fascinating to see how exactly the meridians, which were defined over 2,000 years ago, match the measurements just taken. A comprehensive range of accessories such as detectors, testing equipment, or a treatment chair for optimizing the frequency transfer. RAYONEX not only teaches, this company also lives its beliefs. The new company building, the Sauerland Pyramids in Lennestadt, Mägen, is the best example. Before construction began, interference-free zones for the pyramids had to be found. A construction was chosen that would expose people to the least amount of electromagnetic radiation possible. The interior lighting almost corresponds with natural sunlight. The entire Sauerland Pyramid complex is heated by geothermal energy. Part of the electricity is provided by solar panels, and there is a rainwater recovery system installed. The main pyramid offers more than enough room for the development, manufacturing, and marketing activities of the company. The somewhat smaller event pyramid is used for instruction, seminars, talks, exhibitions, and the training of foreign and domestic study groups. RAYONEX passes on the knowledge that it has gained throughout the world. In these countries, RAYONEX products are constantly being further developed and manufactured to the highest quality specifications, supervised by certified quality management systems. Thanks to the communication and information exchange from our contact partners, RAYONEX is constantly searching for new areas of application. Of special importance is a 400-page book written according to the works of Paul Schmidt and available in many languages, which serves as a guide for newcomers and as a valuable reference book for users. RAYONEX is always close to its customers, not only in the literal sense. With training, conferences, and patient surveys here in this country and overseas, BIORRESONANCE, according to Paul Schmidt, is a living work in progress that follows the holistic goal of helping gently.